Once upon a time, in a small country called Slovakia in Central Europe, lived a king. He was getting old and weak, and so he often wondered which one of his 3 daughters would become queen when he died. It was difficult for him to choose, as they were each different, and he loved them equally. Finally, he came up with a way to make his decision, and had all 3 daughters summoned. My dears, as you know, I'm getting old, and I need to determine which one of you will be queen after my death. I have decided to pass the crown along to the one who loves me most. He then turned to his eldest daughter and asked her how much she loved him. "Oh, my father, I love you like gold." "Very well," the king said contentedly, and turned to his second daughter. "What about you, my middle child? How much do you love me?" "Oh, Papa, I love you like diamonds," she said proudly. "Very good," nodded the king approvingly, turning to his youngest, third daughter, Marushka. "And you, my child, how much do you love your father?" "Oh, Daddy, I love you like salt," she said meekly, expectantly. "Like salt? Ordinary salt that anyone has at home in their pantry? Salt?" The king was confused, disappointed, angry. He banished his daughter from the kingdom. Marushka, used to always obeying her father, with tears in her eyes, turned around promptly and ran away. She climbed mountains, passed through valleys, and arrived to a clearing in a deep, dark forest. Out of nowhere, an old woman appeared in front of her. Little did Marushka know this was a wise witch, a fortune teller. "Tell me, my child, why in such a haste? Why are you so tearful?" "Oh, you can't help me anyway." Well, tell me, perhaps I can offer you some advice." Reluctantly, Marushka recounted her sorrows. The old woman understood and invited her to come stay with her. In exchange, despite having never worked a day in her life, Marushka learned to help the old woman. She was sewing and spinning yarn and weaving. She was even tending to the old woman's sheep, sang to them, fed them, milked them. In the meantime, in the kingdom, the king often thought of his youngest daughter. But it made him too sad, so he tried not to dwell on it. "Oh, so what if I miss her? She didn't love me more than she liked ordinary salt anyway." Soon, a feast was to be held in the castle to welcome his daughter's suitors, princes from near and far. One day, amidst preparations, the main cook rushed into the king's chambers. "My lord, my king, it must be dark magic or a trick, I don't know, but there is not 1 grain of salt left in all the castle." "So send for more." The king waved him off, uninterested. "I would, but there is nowhere to send for it. There is no salt left in all the land. It has disappeared." The cook was extremely worried. "So, cook without it then. There must be plenty of dishes one can make without salt." And with that, the king dismissed him. The cook considered what the king said, bowed, and rushed back into his kitchen, scouring the shelves for ingredients. The feasts that followed were bland, tasteless, or too sweet. People left their plates untouched and did not come back. The salt shortage affected the whole country. It was like a punishment for everyone. People were falling ill. They were walking around as if in a daze, and even the farmland suffered. Marushka had no idea about this misery that had befallen the kingdom and her people. But the wise old witch knew everything, and one day she asked Marushka to come speak with her. She told her it was time to go home. "But how can I go home when my own father disowned me?" Marushka wept. Don't cry, my child. It will all be all right. Believe it or not, salt in the kingdom and to your father is now more valuable than any jewels, diamonds, or gold in all the land. The old woman then asked the princess, "What would you like for all the good work you have done?" "I ask nothing of you but a handful of salt that I may bring to my father as a gift." "Since you value salt so much, may you always have enough of it," said the old woman, and handed Marushka a bottomless pouch of salt. Marushka thanked her and waved goodbye. After a long journey home, she arrived at the kingdom with a scarf covering most of her face. The guards didn't recognize her and wouldn't let her through. "Please let me go see the king. I have something more precious than gold." Finally, they relented, and she asked that they bring bread. "We have bread, but no salt," lamented the king. "What we don't have, we can have," said Marushka, untying the bag. She grabbed a slice of bread, sprinkled some salt on it, and handed it to the king. "Salt!" rejoiced the king. "Young woman, how shall I reward you? Ask for anything." He didn't recognize Marushka either. "I only ask, Papa, that you love me like that salt." The king nearly fainted of joy and begged his daughter for forgiveness. She forgave him immediately. Quickly, the word spread across the kingdom that the youngest daughter had come back with salt. Marushka went home to home, rationing salt from her bottomless magic pouch. Soon afterwards, the king crowned her the new queen, and from then on, there never was another salt shortage again.